It's time for HawgSports Live from HawgSports.com, a division of 24/7 Sports, presented by Crain Automotive. The Crain Team's got 'em. Visit them online at crainteam.com. And now with the latest breaking updates on HawgSports, here's Trey Biddy.
What's up, everybody? Trey Biddy with HawgSports.com, HAWGsports.com. Well, the few things that we got to talk about today. First of all, spring football is just 10 days away, so we'll talk a little bit about that. We'll answer some of your questions, of course. You got Razorback baseball with a 4-game series coming up this weekend against Stetson. We're going to talk to Kevin Bohannon, get a little bit of input from him. Arkansas basketball, of course, with a 105-85 win over the Texas Longhorns. Nolan Richardson, announcement that his statue will be unveiled finally after 30-something years. A little bit late on that, but at least it's finally happening. And I want to talk about this $15 million resolution that is meeting some resistance from the House of Representatives. Also, possibly the university coming up short on its $6 million obligation, what that means, what that looks like here in the coming days. Talk about all that and more on today's episode of Hog Sports Live. The Crain Automotive Team has 16 locations across our state and is home to the Crain Commitment. You'll find Ford, Chevy, Buick, GMC, Hyundai, Kia, Volkswagen, and access to thousands of pre-owned vehicles. Vehicles for every lifestyle and every budget. Even if you're not in the market for a vehicle, the Crain Team Service Centers offer the latest in vehicle diagnostic technology, and certified technicians take care of your vehicle, get you back on the road. Check them out at crainteam.com. Hog Sports Live is driven by the Crain Automotive Team. Woo.
You've done it. Now you're the Crain Cash Champ. You just won big with the Crain Team. Go ahead, soak it up. How could you not feel like a winner? You dominated with our low price guarantee, and you got way more for your trade. Plus, with statewide delivery on thousands of vehicles from 16 locations, and the fact that we'll beat any other dealer's price, we make our Kansans feel like champions every day. That's winning. That's the Crain Team. Visit crainteam.com.
Okay, where to begin? Nolan Richardson. Nolan Richardson finally getting the statue that he deserves from the 1994 National Championship team and everything that he did, leading Arkansas to multiple Final Fours, an Elite Eight, a legendary career at Arkansas. Bob Knight was recently honored with the same deal with getting a statue. Both coaches also sued the university. Let go of things, time to move on. But I thought it was cool that, you're standing on Nolan Richardson Court on Nolan Richardson Drive in Bud Walton Arena and talking about building a statue of him. And it'll be interesting to see, are they going to use the one where he's holding the national championship? Bunky Perkins had one of him, back when they were playing in Barnhill with his foot up on the hill, slim Nolan back in the day wearing the jumpsuit. That wouldn't be a bad look, actually. That might be my favorite proposal, but we'll see how it looks, and then it's going to come out sometime next basketball season. And I'm glad they're doing it, while Nolan's still with us. He's obviously getting up there in age. His wife recently passed away. Wish she could have seen it also, but definitely needs to be done, and glad to see it done. Other big news is the Tyson deal, where they're putting patches on all 19 sports uniforms, swimsuits, whatever they're wearing. And there's going to be branding on fields, on courts, in pools, in arenas and stadiums, all Tyson. So it's good to see Tyson stepping up again for Arkansas. And 90% of that, according to Brandon Marcel, 90% of of the patches are going to the student athletes. So another way to generate NIL for the student athletes. And not a lot of schools have announced this yet. This is a new deal that the NCAA has announced for Division I programs. And so far, I think just UNLV and LSU have announced deals so far. So get used to seeing that Tyson patch. Arkansas basketball with a 105-85 win over Texas. This solidifies Arkansas at being no worse than a 3 seed in the SEC basketball tournament, so they will get the double bye, which they need. They need to continue to get healthy. Of course, Darius Acuff certainly looked like he was about as healthy as he's been. Both Acuff and Brazile had 28 points each. Acuff had 13 assists. No Razorback has ever had 25-plus and 10-plus assists, according to HawgStats. So just another chapter in the remarkable career of Darius Acuff. And it's nice to see Trevin Brazile go out with 28 points. That was cool. Good to see. And Brazile, he's coming off a pretty bad game. And Acuff didn't have a great game either, but it's cool to see. You got Sean Miller talking about why isn't this guy being discussed for, to be the number 1 overall pick in the draft. Says he hasn't seen a better point guard in college basketball. Talked about some of the stats that he's producing, which are incredible. Darius Acuff, his stats right now. I know I've got it pulled up. Darius is averaging overall in the season 22.2 points per game, 6.4 assists per game, and is shooting 43.7% from three-point range. He has made 73 of 167. He's at 666 points, so he's got to come off that number. But a remarkable career. And now we're talking about like who's going to the NBA off this team. Like, obviously Acuff, there's been a lot of talk about Trevin Brazile and his athleticism. Somebody going to take a shot at him, even though he's a little bit older player. Malik Thomas, of course, is a guy that we've discussed a lot. Billy Richmond. Is Billy Richmond going to test the NBA waters? I think at minimum he tests the NBA waters. What did he have last night? Did he finally not score 20? He scored 8. So he broke his streak. He had like 5 games straight where he scored at least 20 points, which he's only scored 20 points in college 5 times, and it was all consecutively. So Billy's certainly hot right now. Billy's hot right now. And that Zoolander came across my feed the other day, and I almost turned it on and started watching it. But Billy, I think, has positioned himself for all SEC. I mean, I don't think without a question he's positioned himself for that. So what's next for Arkansas? You've got a Saturday morning game at Missouri. That's 11 o'clock. 11 o'clock. And if Arkansas wins, so the SEC standings right now, Florida's number 1, and they've locked it up. They went 15-2 in conference. Congratulations, Florida. Had a great regular season. Alabama is 12-5. Alabama hosts Auburn on Saturday. Auburn pretty much has to win and make a run in the SEC tournament to make it to the big dance. So Auburn should be highly motivated. Not only is it their rival, they kind of have to win. So, I mean, they don't have to. They could win the SEC tournament, I guess, but they really need a win. So if Alabama beats Auburn, Alabama is the 2 seed. If Alabama loses to Auburn and Arkansas beats Missouri, then Arkansas is the 2 seed. Right now, Alabama has the tiebreaker edge over Arkansas. Tennessee, if Arkansas, Alabama, and Tennessee lose, then that could throw a wrench in it, actually. So maybe they haven't locked up the 3. But they have a tiebreaker over Tennessee. Yeah, that throws a wrench into it. So if Alabama loses and Arkansas loses and Tennessee wins on Saturday, then that could throw a wrench into it. But Arkansas is going to be no worse than the 4 seed, and they have it locked up, and probably going to be the 3 seed. I'm not sure how all the tiebreaker stuff works just yet, but Arkansas has it over Tennessee. They don't have it over Alabama. Alabama has it over Tennessee also. So that should guarantee Arkansas no worse than the 3 seed. No, they're 1-1 against Tennessee. They played them twice. So I'm not sure how that works after that. Anybody know? Put in the comments below. So the quarterfinal round, which Arkansas has automatically advanced to, they're not going to be the 1 seed. So that's the that's the noon game on Friday, March 13th. They could, I guess, possibly be the 4 seed. That's at 2:30 on Friday, the 13th. And if they're the 2 seed, that'll be a 6 o'clock game on the 13th. And if they are the 3 seed, which I think they're going to be the 2 or the 3, that's at 9:30. That's Eastern time. 8:30 p.m. on Friday the 13th. It's the second straight Friday the 13th, by the way, in terms of months. Okay. Yeah, let me know what you think on the standings. Arkansas can do no worse than 4th, though. Hey, I'd like to tell you about our friends over at Walker Brothers. If you haven't been by Walker Brothers' new store, it is something to behold. It really is. Located at 3503 South 55th Street, Suite 101 in Rogers. Men, if you're having a hard time finding clothes, which I know it's difficult in Northwest Arkansas, there's just not a lot of great places. I mean, you can go to the mall, but that's hit and miss. Walker Brothers carries really nice, high quality clothing. I'm not gonna lie, some of it's expensive, some of it's not. Some of it is very reasonably priced, and it's all high quality. I have stuff in my closet from Walker Brothers that I've had for years and years, old stuff and new stuff. Bringing you the finest men's clothing from around the world, carefully selected to last, fit right, and help you look your best, from game day essentials to distinguished luxury wear. Visit our friends at Walker Brothers. You can check them out at 577 Millsap Road, Suite number 6 in Fayetteville, where they've been as long as I can remember, or 3503 South 55th Street, Suite 101 in Rogers at their brand new location. Okay. So I've written a lot on this $15 million resolution. Just to break it down, what the Board of Trustees voted on January 28th is $15 million basically to be injected into the Razorback athletic program. So $5 million is from within the athletic department to find new ways to generate $5 million, basically, whether it's fundraising, being creative, making cuts, whatever. This is not part of the Tyson patches. This is not part of that. And we were told pretty early on that that's not going to factor into this deal. So $5 million that the university, Hunter Yurachek, has to figure out how to come up with. Okay, so that's phase one. There's 3 prongs to it. That's prong 1. Prong 2 is the athletic department no longer being required to give 3%, the campus transfer fee, whatever they're calling it, to the university. Basically like paying some kind of rent to the university. This past year, that would have been $4.4 million, according to Chancellor Robinson at the Joint Budget Committee yesterday. That's supposed to be like $5 million next year. Okay, so there's 5 and there's 5. The other prong is $6 million that the university, the institution, is to give to the athletic department. All right, so this is where the first hurdle has come up. Okay, they haven't found $6 million. They have found $3.4 million, and I'm going to tell you how they're going to do it. So J.B. Silveria, who is the president, let me find my notes here so we get all this right. J.B. Silveria, back in September, reached out to the Board of Trustees about finding $15 million to inject into the athletic department. They started discussing that in November, basically. So like anything like this is a surprise to us when they voted on it January 28th. I'm just not buying that. That's just not true. They've been discussing this. It wasn't sprung on anybody. So Silveria has written a letter to the board saying on March 9th that he wants to be able to he wants the board to delegate to him the ability to authorize funding plans that fall short of the $6 million if he determines the parties have used their best efforts to meet the board's objectives. And with a memorandum of understanding between Chancellor Robinson and Hunter Yurachek. Okay, so what has happened is he has written the $6 million, I'm paraphrasing, has proved to be difficult to accomplish. Okay, this was acquired through Freedom of Information Act request. This was released via that. The institution has identified ways to increase the department's budget by $3.4 million for the fiscal year 2027, and that is estimated to increase to $3.55 million by fiscal year 2030. All right, so one of the big things that they talk about is being self-sustaining, and you hear that language, and I've said before, like, this is a point of pride in some kind of way for them to say that. But to me, like, if you have a 2-win football team, like, why are you talking about that? Like you're proud of it. But with the $3.4 million, this is where it comes from. It's not coming like directly, like they're not just like saying, hey, here's your money, and, students are paying for it and taxpayers and all this stuff. This is where it's coming from. Instead of charging out-of-state tuition, okay, for out-of-state athletes, they're going to charge in-state tuition for out-of-state athletes. That's going to get them about $1 million. All right. So for those who don't know, the athletic department has to pay the university for its scholarships, for its athletic scholarships. They still have to do that. It's probably like $12 million or something. So now the out-of-state guys, they don't have to pay out-of-state tuition for them. They just pay in-state tuition. So that's going to save them some money there. That's one part. They're going to eliminate fees charged by the university to the department for alcohol awareness training, parking, and student government. So that fee is eliminated. They're going to transfer the cost for marching band from the department to the university. The athletic department pays for the marching band, so now the university will pay for that. They're going to transfer public transit costs on game days to the university. They're going to charge the university fair market value for the chancellor and president's suites in Razorback Stadium, along with the current discount for faculty and staff tickets. That's going to be like $450,000. Reallocating a larger percentage of the pouring rights contract to the department, and assigning all revenue for special events parking to the department. So basically, they're shifting some of the revenues that originally went to the university to the athletic department, and some of the expenses that the athletic department has incurred are being shifted to the university. And in a roundabout way, that comes out to $3.44 million, something like that, $3.4 million, without them just like paying, So it's short of the $6 million. And I'm going to get into a student athletics fee idea, okay? Because we got to talk about what House of Representatives letter has sent also. So basically, $3.4 million allows them to continue saying it's a self-sustaining athletic department, okay? If they charge a student athletics fee, like I had brought up the idea to cover this $6 million, you charge $200 per student for the entire year. That for 34,000 students comes out to $6.8 million, easily covers it. With the moves that they have made, they could get to $6 million with $77 per student. $77 per student for 34,000 students covers this whole deal. People are acting like it's going to put people in poverty. It's going to raise Arkansas's poverty rate from 15.5% to 20% or something. Okay. So I've got this all broken down. You can read this in more depth on HawgSports, breaking down where the money's coming from, where they're making shifts to get to that $3.4 million. They're going to vote on this on March 9th, that the university will come up short. Now, here's another part of it. Like, if you take that it's going to be $5 million instead of 4.4, if you take that it's going to be $5 million that the athletic department's going to, then you're at $13.4 million. I mean, like, even if you just try to get right at 15 million, say, okay, your $6 million obligation, whatever, we want to get to 15 million, then you're talking about $47 for students. Okay. Unless this changes on March 9th, then the only way to get to that is to charge a student athletics fee and to stop using the language that we are a self-sustaining athletic department. All right. So here's the letter. This is undersigned by several members of the House of Representatives, Arkansas House of Representatives. Dear President Silveria and Chancellor Robinson, I'm not going to read the whole thing. I'm just going to give you an idea. We, the undersigned, the members of the Arkansas House of Representatives, write, this is February 17th, by the way. The Arkansas House of Representatives write regarding the recent resolution adopted by the University of Arkansas Board of Trustees on January 28, 2026, which would effectively commit the university to providing more than $11 million in annual funding to the university's intercollegiate athletic programs and pursue expanded long-term commitments for athletics funding. Not technically, it just means the university is no longer going to pay rent I always say that the athletic department is not going to pay rent to the university basically anymore. And the university is going to take over things that should have been borne by them anyway. And even the president says that. They should not have been born by the athletic department in the first place. All right. We respect the history and commitment. We respect the history and community value of Razorback athletics. However, we cannot support the substantial change in institutional funding priorities, particularly where such substantial changes appear to have been made on short notice. That's not true. Without adequate explanation, that's not true, and will necessarily be borne by the students at the university, their families. As of now, it's not. As of now, it's not. Unless they enact this student athletics fee, it's not being borne by the students or their families. And ultimately, the Arkansas taxpayer. Not a dime of Arkansas taxpayer money has gone to the University of Arkansas athletics. Not a dime. Never has. What are you talking about? What are you even talking? It just tells me like you don't really know what's going on. Affordability and access to higher education remain critical to public priorities. According to the most recent data, Arkansas's overall poverty rate is 15.5%. All right, yeah, Arkansas is a poor state. I get it. I've lived in this state forever. Everybody knows that. South Carolina is also right around that same long line of poverty. Clemson and South Carolina also have student athletics fees. Alabama does it, has a similar poverty rate and has a student athletics fee at Auburn. University of Georgia has it, also has a similar poverty rate. There's also a thing called a Pell Grant, where if you are in need, then you have that to help cover tuition, fees, housing. It's called a Pell Grant. It's there for people in need. This is not going to put people who are in poverty in more poverty. Like, what are you even talking about? And especially, like, what are you talking about with the Arkansas taxpayer? And I'm going to tell you something else here. We're going after the University of Arkansas, the flagship university that has to have $15 million or they're going to be operating in the red. Like with the last financial fiscal report, like it didn't list the $20.5 million that comes out of the budget that you have to compete now in college athletics. It doesn't include that because that report ended on June 30th and July 1st is when this took effect. So on next year's, it will show up $20.5 million and Arkansas will be in the red. They'll be operating at a deficit without this. And like, just to put it in comparison, like Texas, their revenue is twice what Arkansas is, their athletic revenue. The $20.5 million isn't a thing to them. It is to Arkansas, and you've got to find out ways to cover it. And we've already talked about the importance of athletics, how it's the front porch of your university, and we can talk all we want about finances and where this money and that money's coming from. If you have a good athletics program, you draw higher quality students. It's good for the region. It's good for the economy. There are so many different examples that I've pointed to. You can read them all at HawgSports.com about why having a good athletics program is beneficial for the University of Arkansas and the community and really the state's overall mental health, because people care about the Razorbacks. It's not like this is the one team that everybody's around. Like people are fans of the Dallas Cowboys or Kansas City Chiefs or the St. Louis Cardinals or Atlanta Braves. Everybody has their different allegiances inside the state with professional sports teams. But the one team that brings them all together is the Arkansas Razorbacks. It's what we can all agree on. The amount of time, investment, and care that people put into it. Like, it matters. Don't act like it doesn't matter. And it can benefit everything, including academics. And that has been proven. I mean, I mention all the time about University of Alabama attracting more national merit scholars than anywhere in the country. Alabama. Because students want that experience. They want to follow a great college sports team as part of their college experience. Who else has a student athletics fee? Arkansas State has one. It's $690. I'm trying to find where I have that in my notes. But like several have them. Okay, here it is. Others do it. Arkansas State charges students a $23 athletic fee per credit hour. That comes out to roughly $690. We're talking $7.21 million in 2023. And that was with 14,903 students. Now they have 17,926. UCA charges $21.50 per credit hour, $645 for 30 credit hours. Again, we're talking at Arkansas. I was bringing up just $200, but we're really talking like, $77 if they do the other things. $77. UALR, which does not even have a football team, charges $23.50 per credit hour for undergraduates, $705 a year for 30 hours. But it's Arkansas that's going to increase the poverty rate. Like, what are we talking about? Georgia charges $106 annually. Florida charges $3.46 per credit hour. Auburn charges $113 of its $983 student service fee towards athletics. Tennessee uses a new talents fee surcharge. That's 10% on all ticket invoices, including student tickets. South Carolina, I mentioned, they imposed a $300 mandatory fee, calling it the athletics auxiliary fee. Existing in addition to existing student ticket fees of $172 a year. Maryland just enacted it. I mean, Clemson, Louisville, Illinois, Iowa, UCLA, Maryland, Virginia, West Virginia, Virginia Tech, Utah, Texas Tech. A lot of schools do it. Anyway, it's frustrating that this is being met with resistance, which I guess, is you would expect. And that's not everybody from the House of Representatives, but it's a lot of people actually that are undersigned on this letter. Okay. I think we're good on covering all that. If you want to read more on it, I got it broken down in detail on HawgSports. Let's play this clip of Cal real quick just to see what his takes. I wanted to play this earlier, but I forgot. So here's a quick clip of Cal.
We came in with the idea, let's get after this. You could tell that's the healthiest he's been in a while. He needs to be in the conversation. So you can't say it's, well, they don't know. No, he's good. You have been trained and prepared to play in March. Our team is bonded. We have been tested. Let's go. This is why we did what we did all year, is to get to March to be able to play like we're one of those teams. And so tonight was important that way. Now you got to go on the road. I know what happened at Texas today. We were the buzzsaw. How about Nolan's statue? They put an addendum in my contract that I had to go out and clean that thing once a week. So if there's bird poop on it, it's up to me to go wipe it off. How about Tyson Foods doing what they're doing? My job is to let go of the rope now. I've got to be a cheerleader. If you ain't excited, then you ain't getting it from me. I'm not going to be able to do it.
Blakeman's Fine Jewelry is proud to be the official sponsor. Oops, what am I doing here? There we go. Blakeman's Fine Jewelry is proud to be the official jeweler of the Arkansas Razorbacks. And while I would encourage you to visit them in person, because they're the new store is it's unlike anything you've seen in the region. It's the finest jewelry store in Arkansas. It's located at 3202 Pinnacle Hills Parkway in Rogers, Arkansas, 72758. But did you also know that you can shop them online? And they offer delivery, or you can book an appointment online. Just go to BlakemansFineJewelry.com. Built on tradition since 1987, Blakeman's has been Northwest Arkansas's trusted destination for exceptional jewelry and personalized service. Again, visit them at their brand new location, 3202 Pinnacle Hills Parkway, Rogers, Arkansas, 72758, the official jeweler of the Arkansas Razorbacks and where Arkansas gets engaged. All right, Kevin Bohannon is going to join us now on the Ozarks Go hotline. Kevin has been busy covering Razorback baseball. Why do I have that weird? What is this? Right, there we go. If you need fast, reliable, consistent internet service, check out our friends over at Ozarks Go. You can reach out to them at 479-684-4900 or go to ozarksgo.net/hawg, HAWG. I've had several different internet service providers in the last 20-something years, and they've all had problems. They all jack your rate up year 1 to year 2. Ozarks Go does not do that, and I've never unplugged my router. Cabo, how's it going?
Trying to beat the weather this weekend.
Yeah.
Other than that,
yeah, it's good. Get some nasty weather coming in. I'm going to go over to Back Nine Golf this weekend and play some golf that just opened in Fayetteville, by the way. You can check them out at Back Nine Golf at theback9golf.com and book a free demo. But a lot of cool hitting bays and fun times over there. But it's nice to have when the weather is going to be like this. It's going to cause some problems with this series against Stetson.
Yeah, Friday's opener that was scheduled for 6 p.m. has been moved up to 1 p.m. for threat of severe weather later in the day.
Mm-hmm.
It looks like it's going to be kind of round after round, so there are going to be windows to play baseball, and that's going to be the middle part of the day, it seems. So 1 o'clock, then I think noon. I think they got things figured out to where they can figure it. They can get all the games in Monday through Friday or Friday through Monday. Remember, no TV on Friday, unfortunately, even though it's been moved up to 1 o'clock, still no TV tomorrow. So follow the game thread at HawgSports.com or your favorite radio station.
Yeah. So what is the major focus for this series against Stetson?
Yeah, this is the last non-conference series before Mississippi State comes to town next weekend. So the biggest thing is they need to ride the momentum they have offensively. Starting with Saturday against UT Arlington last week, the offense has been clicking on, I think, most cylinders. I won't say all cylinders because there's still a few things that they need to work on. They've cut down on strikeouts. They've gone from about 11 per game down to about 9. They had 6 walks in that win over Oral Roberts on Tuesday. And you're getting more depth. That's the biggest thing right there. Zach Stewart has really stepped up into that designated hitter role / being in right field. So he's become the weapon that I think a lot of people, including myself, thought he would be for Arkansas. I remember when he committed out of the transfer portal, I said, that is a huge get. It was questioned at the time by some people. Like, he's hit, but he's hit homers, but he can't really hit. Well, he's hitting .429, 3 home runs out of his 9 hits. So I think that's just going to add depth. TJ Pompey finally got some confidence in that win over Oral Roberts. He hit the longest home run at Baum-Walker Stadium this season. That was not on the bingo card, by the way. So, continue to ride that confidence offensively. And then for pitching, keep doing what you're doing and keep getting guys innings. That's been the biggest thing that Matt Hobbs has wanted to do because the last 2 weekends, and we mentioned this on Monday, you've only had 3 relievers throw each of the last 2 weekends. So, yeah, you saw some of that on Tuesday against Oral Roberts. They emptied the bullpen, and they threw 7 pitchers. So that's good for later in the year. Still got to get a guy like Cooper Dawsett, maybe get him some innings this weekend, and having 4 games will definitely help that.
Yeah, this freshman group, this 2026 freshman class, how good is it? How good can they be?
It's really funny, Trey, because when you look back at about the last 5 recruiting classes, the 2025 class was ranked the lowest out of any of them. They were ranked like 12th, 13th, 14th, depending on what service you looked at. But 10 freshmen have played so far, including one starting at shortstop. You've got another guy out of the bullpen as a pitcher, Mark Brissy, who has looked really good. He's had 5 innings, 1 hit, 2 walks, 9 strikeouts. He's been untouchable. So, but you got 10 overall. In the 5th pit, they've had 5 position players and 5 pitchers. Jordan Martin was that 5th freshman pitcher that has thrown this season. He threw in the last inning against Oral Roberts. 94-95 fastball, but his slider is 78-79. When you have a 15-mile-per-hour variation between fastball and breaking ball, that is next to impossible to prepare for. So still got some polishing to do, things like that. But you are setting a foundation of what Coach Van Horn, Coach Thompson, and Coach Hobbs want to do is still have that development in your program. And if recruits see that, high school kids see that, that's still going to attract some of the best talent in the nation to want to come to Arkansas. And I think that's going to set the guys up for, a lot of success in the future. You're seeing that out of the 2023 class right now with Ryder Helfrich, Gabe Gackle, Tate McGuire, Colin Fisher, Hunter Dietz. They were all a part of the same recruiting class. Not portal guys. Those are high school recruits. Two of those guys are likely going to be first-round draft picks. Latest D1 mock draft had Helfrich going at 22 and Gackel going at 26.
Carson Wiggins, you think there's any chance that he, after having Tommy John, that he could pitch this year?
Yeah, so this was the talk of the Swatters Club after Coach Van Horn mentioned he's throwing bullpens, and there's a chance he could throw at the end of the year. There are so many moving parts to that, Trey, that we can't get into it in a HawgSports Live broadcast on Thursday. I'll tell you that right now. In my opinion, it has to be the perfect situation. Now, Carson is a draft-eligible sophomore, meaning that he turns 21 before August 1st. Same thing as Caden Wallace. Same thing as Andrew Benintendi, Evan Lee, guys that have been on campus for 2 years and then went pro. I was surprised Carson made it to campus. He priced himself out of the draft, though. So went to school, had a really good freshman season, and then got hurt. For him to come back 12 months after Tommy John surgery has to be under optimal, perfect conditions. That means low-stress environment. Arkansas has things wrapped up. They're going to be a top 8 seed in the hunt for a SEC title. Right situation where you can put him in and get him some work. Now, the parents, the agents, his team, quote unquote, all have a say in this. Coach Van Horn wants him to come back next year because he thinks he can be a Friday night guy or Saturday guy and be a number 1 draft pick. That could happen, but you also take the risk of re-injuring that arm. So I think they have to be under perfect conditions. I would still put it at less than 50% that he pitches this year, but I've been wrong before, but we'll just have to see.
When have you been wrong before, Kevin? I don't remember that. So after this, it's right on to SEC play. Arkansas with a 3-game series against Mississippi State on March 13th, 14th, and 15th.
Yeah, and a lot of people are looking forward to that. That's going to be a top 10 matchup that, media, a lot of national media have been looking out for. Mississippi State got beat the other night by Southern Miss. Southern Miss is number 1 in the RPI right now. A lot of people have been overlooking Southern Miss, but Mississippi State, Ace Reese at third base. They've got a young freshman lefty pitcher named Jack Bauer, and yes, he does wear number 24. I think we all would have been upset if he did not wear number 24. But, yeah, Mississippi State's going to be – they're going to come in. It's going to be a really hyped-up series. Those games, let's see, SEC Network's going to carry Saturday and Sunday games, so those will be nationally televised, and it'll be a rocking atmosphere at Baum-Walker Stadium. Should be really hotly contested. Expect Friday night game, low scoring, and then it'll get a little bit heated from there, but that should be 3 close games.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I mean, like I always say, the Arkansas sports cluster is on the horizon with SEC play in baseball coming up March 13th, the SEC basketball tournament for Arkansas starting on March 13th, and the spring football coming around on Sunday, March 15th. Beware the Ides of March, as they say.
Right.
Or as Shakespeare says in Julius Caesar anyway. All right, K-Bo. Appreciate you, buddy.
All right. Thanks, Trey.
All right, everybody. Follow Kevin Bohannon at K-Bo Baseball Guru on X. He is does a little bit of everything for us at HawgSports, helps us with baseball, of course, is our main guy, and then does a lot for football also, and chips in where he can. So appreciate K-Bo. If you're interested in on putting any money down on any of these games coming up, you can go to Bet Saracen, Arkansas's #1 sports betting app, and if you put $25 down on your first bet, sign up and put $25 on your first bet. Use the promo code BIDDY250, capital B-I-D-D-Y. Capital B, lowercase I-D-D-Y. I don't even know if it's case sensitive or not. That's how they sent it to me. BIDDY 250. You will get $250 back in bonus cash to bet on Bet Saracen. $250 back in bonuses. Pretty sweet deal for signing up for your first bet at Bet Saracen.
Arkansas's Fab Five for Bet Saracen.
Hey, Joe, what do you think was the best shot in Arkansas basketball history?
Was it U.S.'s half-court shot versus the national champions in the big dance? Or maybe it was Scotty's shot in '94 to win it all.
That's a jump ball for me. I'm not even going there.
I'm good with that.
Yeah, me too.
Bet where most Arkansans bet.
Bet where we bet.
Bet Saracen.
All right. We're going to hop right over into questions. I'm sure there's going to be plenty of spring football questions we can discuss. I don't really have anything like specific to talk about with spring football. It's just, stuff usually comes up because this is a football school. It is. Look at the revenue. All right, JBC 5403. Right now, it's a basketball school, though. I know there are questions at quarterback, but do you think if KJ Jackson had gone into the transfer portal, he would have been sought after by other big schools or even other SEC schools? I don't think so. I think that other SEC schools who are entering the transfer portal looking for quarterbacks are going to be looking for future starters, most likely. That's may not be 100% true. Like Ole Miss a few years ago, they brought in a guy from LSU who was a Walker Howard, I believe, who was a really highly regarded high school recruit. When they had Jackson Dart, they brought in that Spencer fella from Oklahoma State who had started for them. So they actually brought in some guys to come in and compete with Jackson Dart at quarterback. But as far as having his best chance at starting, I think that's probably would have been staying at Arkansas. Just don't have enough film to be like pursued by SEC schools as a potential starter. Doesn't mean he won't be one or wouldn't be one. Zelda Fan 1942 says, what do you think we have to do in order to meet the $15 million resolution and the $6 million obligation so that simple progress is made? Again, they're at $3.4 million, and that's created by transferring costs that were previously paid by the department to the university and revenue that was previously generated by the university to the department, where it should have been anyway. So they're at 3.4 there. The only other way to really get to that next, to get to the 6 million is a student athletics fee, which again, they're going to meet on this on March 9th. It's a regularly scheduled Board of Trustees meeting. They're going to meet on that on March 9th and discuss it. And President Silveria wants them to delegate to him that, he looks at it and says, okay, they have made a strong effort to get there. They just have come up short. We're going to accept the 3.4. So that's where he wants to get it. And he's the guy that originally had said, hey, figure out a way to inject 15 million. That's what's, weird to me about, like, you read like short notice and stuff. Like he even wrote his, his letter to the Board of Trustees that he wrote on March 9th, on March 3rd, said that he went to them and said, hey, come up with a plan to get $15 million. Like, this wasn't something that was just sprung on people like people are acting like. It's not. It's been discussed for months leading up to that vote. They may have first seen it actually written out then, but they've been discussing it all. It's like it's anyway, it passed with a 7-3 vote anyway. L1, I don't even know. $77 in terms of tuition is next to nothing. Board of Trustees really doesn't need to make it this hard. I mean, like, are you going to notice like the $77 next to? Let me see where this breaks down. I broke it down on all the other fees if I can find it. Yeah, so you're going to notice a $77 student athletics fee. On the bill below lines for a $399 facilities fee, a $129.90 health and wellness fee, a $74.70 library fee, a $13.50 media fee. What is that? A $240 network and data systems fee, a $44.85 student activity fee, a $84.30 transit fee. And here's some nice ones. A $55 first year experience fee for freshmen and a $105 new student fee. Just $105. But this $77 athletic fee to effort to keep Arkansas, without this $15 million resolution, Arkansas athletics would be losing money. They would be losing money. They would have to do more costs. They just fired like 18 people up there last year to make room for this. I mean, they had to hire some new people. They had to just kind of transfer things around, but they fired 18 people. I believe it was 18. That number might not be 100% right, but they have had to make cuts and sacrifices. And without this money, like, there is zero chance of Arkansas ever having a chance to be competitive. What are we talking about? Like, either get in or get out. Like, if you're not going to support this resolution for $15 million, stop playing football and stop patronizing fans and asking them to give money for something that has no chance whatsoever at ever being competitive in this conference. No chance. Get out. Get out of the SEC if this is what you want to do. Quit. This is what you're asking for. Like, you're saying, like, if you don't want them to do the $15 million resolution, then you're saying, we would rather you suck. Just go ahead and suck. We appreciate the history and pageantry and tradition of Razorback athletics, but we really just want you guys to suck. I mean, how is it different than that? Next question. Let them start taxing students, charging fees to pay athletes, and of course, it will start out very small. Oh, young man. Oh, yeah, man, what's the big deal? Only $77. Another 10 years, it'll be $7,000. Well, hopefully there'll be some kind of collective bargaining, but this is where we are right now. You know, Bobby from Arkadelphia says, imagine being so slow with all the changes and the fees a college puts on you. Imagine taking the time to post about a $77 fee to be able to go to all the sporting events. Imagine being so slow with all the changes and all the fees a college puts on you. Imagine taking the time to post about a $77 fee, be able to go to all this. I think there's a period or something missing in there. Sean Alexander, 8480, $200 per year per person a year is only $20 a month per student. That won't make or break anyone. I think it's an excellent idea, Trey. If I were a student, I'd pay it without complaint. The thing is, if you ask the students to pay it, you're no longer self-sustaining athletic department. Football program has only 14 SEC wins in 8 years that Urachek has been here. When will we be rid of him? I mean, it's easy, and I'm not saying like Urachek is like totally innocent of, the reasons why Arkansas has been so poor in athletics, in football anyway. He definitely bears some of that guilt, but I think you see now like some of the obstacles that he runs into. Like, they could not raise money under Sam Pittman. The board had to step in and say, hey, university, you got to do this, and you need help here. And now you've got people from the House of Representatives stepping in and saying, hey, we oppose this. It's not all Hunter Urachek. Like, he does some things, sticks his foot in his mouth sometimes. Like, at the Little Rock Touchdown Club, he absolutely should have. What he said wasn't wrong, but he should have followed up with, this is how we're going to fix it, which he later did, but the damage was kind of done already. I mean, yeah, you don't have to, like, you can go look at Hunter Urachek's feed on X, and everything he posts is just, man, it's rough. It's some rough stuff from fans. It is. Jason Green, 6286 says, how much will Tyson Dill help with the portal and recruiting class? It should help. Not a lot of schools have announced deals yet. I think Arkansas is one of only 3 as of yesterday anyway. So it should absolutely help. So, like, Arkansas does appear to be ahead there. And the things where Arkansas, like, makes really good moves, Tyson seems to be behind it. Like, getting John Calipari, John Tyson, this logo deal. Yes, it took some effort from the University of Arkansas on our Urachek, but it's also, here's Tyson again, so it's good to see. It's good to see somebody with those resources stepping up for Arkansas, because other schools have it. We see what's going on at Texas Tech. I was talking on Drive Time the other day about T. Boone Pickens and everything that he did for Oklahoma State and their facilities and stuff. So it's nice to have John Tyson. We certainly appreciate you, John. Robbie Goodman says, are we naming names from the House? Are we naming names from the House? Not sure what you mean, Robbie. Nick Klesko says, cost of football. Thank you, Tyson. Razorback Pride says, I appreciate and excited about the Tyson deal, but is it a good deal since we can't get another sponsorship for a second patch? I think it's probably a good deal. I think it's probably a pretty sweet deal. And great for the athletes. All right, let's see what questions we got here over in the Rage's Edge forum. Hey, I want to tell you one more time about our buddies over at Back Nine. A good friend of mine, Jody Hendricks, running that place over there. You can reach out to them at 479-448-4653 or go to Fayetteville AR or email Fayetteville AR at theback9golf.com, or you can go to theback9golf.com, hover over locations, select Arkansas, Fayetteville. This is something Fayetteville needed for a long time, like a place where you can go hit. I love mashing golf balls. I don't know about you, but I love just cranking golf balls. I could do it all day if my body would hold up to it. And I know there are a lot of people like that. And sometimes when the weather's cold or there's rain, you need a place like this, or just for hanging out. Like we went and watched a Razorback game over there one day. But check them out. They've got, you can book a free demo. There's several different membership tiers. You pay monthly and you basically get access. You can go at 3:00 in the morning if you want. In fact, they have maybe college students coming off Dixon Street, hitting T-Bell, going to the Back Nine. Maybe. Thorhog says, oh, okay, here we go. This is the big question. Willie B. Hardigan. Yes, that's his name. Who wins in a fight, a grizzly bear or a silverback gorilla? And I was thinking about this just the other day. The silverback wins. The silverback gorilla wins. The silverback gorilla is going to be smarter. I don't see any way that the silverback doesn't win this fight. I mean, I know you've got these giant claws and stuff, but I mean, imagine getting smacked over the head by a gorilla with a punch so fast you couldn't even see it. I think about this stuff. From time to time. So, Willie B., I appreciate the question. The answer is a silverback gorilla would take down a grizzly bear. Thorhog says, hey, Trey, in your opinion, do you think Arkansas has a chance to get a 4 seed or better in the NCAA tournament? Yes. Would they have to beat Missouri and win the SEC tournament? No, man. No. They would not. I think they're a 4 seed right now. So, maybe win a game in the SEC tournament and beat Missouri. Maybe that solidifies that spot. But I think they're probably right there on the bubble as 4 seed right now. What are they ranked? 20th? I'm not sure what they are on the net and all that stuff, but no, I think either or. I think beating Missouri, I don't think you can lose a game in the SEC tournament. I should clarify that. I don't think you can beat Missouri and then lose a game in the SEC tournament and go, oh, we're a 4 seed. They probably need to win at least one game in the tournament. So maybe I should preface that. But yeah, absolutely, they can get a 4 seed or better. If they make some real noise in the SEC tournament, like make it to the championship game or even win it, then 3 seed. Pritchison said, what, in your opinion, is the aversion to funding the athletic department with lack of information, first of all, with what it needs to take a step towards success? I think just the way things are framed to people, I think lack of information, like people talking about being stewards of the taxpayer, like the athletic department is not taking taxpayer money. It never has. What are you even talking about? It just shows that people don't really know what they're talking about. And that happens all the time in politics. And I'm not saying these people aren't bright people, I mean, and doing a good job representing us, but people make mistakes and people have misinformation sometimes. And I think that's probably a case here. Arkansas cannot function as an athletic department without this influx of money. And again, you're competing against schools like Texas. $20.5 million to Texas for revenue share is nothing. It's about half what it is for Arkansas. An institution that generates twice the revenue as Arkansas does. It's not as big a deal for them. Hunter Yurchek and Chancellor Robinson were asked with increasing funding, and we flipped away from it almost instantly. How do they expect Silverfield to succeed without? They haven't flipped away from it. They have not flipped away from it. People from the House are objecting to the university basically saying, we need $11 million, or excuse me, the department saying we need $11 million from the university, but that's not actually, and that's also, they're asking, they want to repeal that, but that's not happening. First of all, at the very worst, what would happen is the board saying like, okay, you made an effort, you found out a way to generate $3.4 million. It's not the $6 million we wanted, so now Arkansas will be at $13.4 million. I think when everything's said and done, instead of the $15 million. That I think is going to be the worst thing that would happen. And the best thing that would happen is say, hey, well, you got to figure out a way to come up with the rest of this money. And that might mean implementing a, $77 student athletics fee and not being able to call yourself self-sustaining. But taxpayer money, none of that's going to the to the athletic department. Hogs fan 479 said, would it help if we could change the Directors Cup standings to be based on fundraising instead of on-field performance? They do like to talk about the Directors Cup standings. Kendall Byers says, you've spoken many times about how Arkansas is at a disadvantage because of its location. That's the one thing, but there's a lot of talent that comes out of St. Louis, Kansas City, Oklahoma, and Dallas. So there's actually Kansas City lacks a little bit. For a long time, it's been years ago, but Kansas City schools lost their accreditation and you couldn't even get players out of there. There's not a ton of talent that comes out of Oklahoma. There is talent, but not a ton. St. Louis is a little farther. Dallas is 5.5 hours away at least, depending on how fast you drive. But you look at other schools, like I brought up Auburn before. Look at how many good-sized cities are around Auburn, Alabama. I mean, Birmingham and Tallahassee, Atlanta, Columbus. I mean, there's a lot of talent around Auburn that isn't that far away. And really, I always say, like, from Little Rock to Fayetteville is the perfect distance to go away to college. You're not too far from home, so if you need to get home, you can, but you're also far enough away you're not expected to go home all the time. It's still a little bit of a hassle. You got to get away from your parents a little bit. You love your parents, but you want to get away. You're 18 years old. You want to get away a little bit. To me, 2.5 hours, 3 hours, that's the perfect distance to go away from college. 5 hours, that's still fine, but a little bit farther, a little bit of a hassle if you got to get home. Do you think it would be a smart approach for a coach to draw a circle from St. Louis to Dallas over to Tennessee, establish that as a recruiting territory? Well, I think NIL thing has changed everything. Like, you can go, like, Arkansas traditionally is getting 4-star prospects only if, like, they're a 4-star prospect, but the in-state school has still kind of turned their nose up at them. Which might happen sometimes in Oklahoma. A.J. Green is an example. Oklahoma wanted him as a cornerback. He wanted to play running back. So Arkansas ended up getting him. Or if there's some kind of family connection, Matteo Soli in Georgia, he was a 4-star recruit, didn't really pan out. Bumper Pool in Texas, he had family connections to Arkansas. So, like, there has to be some kind of family connection like that. Otherwise, all your 4-stars are coming from inside the state of Arkansas for the most part. Traditionally. Now, you can outbid somebody. You can say, hey, this guy's worth this much to us. And he may only be worth $150,000 to you, but to us, he's worth $250,000. And we really want him, So you can win that way, but also the transfer portal. I mean, what that has shown this last cycle, like, you've got people coming from literally all corners of the country to Arkansas. I bring up Trajan Odom. Trajan Odom is from North Carolina. He went to Ohio State. What are the odds that Arkansas would get a 4-star defensive tackle from North Carolina who was deciding between Arkansas and Ohio State out of high school? It's a 0. But he went to Ohio State, didn't really love it there. Arkansas had a nice offer for him. And after 1 year, he's a redshirt freshman. Now he's at Arkansas. You can get younger players like that to come to Trevin Brazile. Trevin Brazile has been at Arkansas for how many? 4 years. He wasn't a high school recruit. He went to Missouri. So you can get guys that are younger and build your roster that way through the transfer portal. And also, have the efforts in high school recruiting as well. All right, let's see if we got any more jump out questions here before we wrap the show up. We got one more. Pit Crew 31 says, who specifically is the pushback of resistance coming from and why? It's just several members of the House. Chancellor Robinson was there yesterday. Let's see. I don't want to read everybody's name off, but there's, I don't know, maybe a couple dozen people on that list. But they're not going to be the ones that stop it. It's going to be the Board of Trustees. They're just writing a letter. Yeah, at worst, you're going to be at 13.4 million instead of 15. So it'd be nice. Like I've mentioned this before, like Josh Pate going to Texas Tech, and everybody's just marching the same direction. Everybody's got the same vision, the same plan. Everybody's in it together. And, I didn't like seeing a 7-3 vote. I feel like it should have been 10-0, 9-1 at worst on that resolution. I mean, it is obviously needed. Like, if you want to have athletics, if you want to have a competitive football program, these steps have to be made. Otherwise, you are going to be terrible. Like, this is the option. Like, invest in football, take these measures, support this resolution, build through NIL, do things like they got with the Tyson patch and all that stuff. Or don't do that and be absolutely atrocious, laughingstock football program like you have been. Just keep doing what you've been doing, and you're going to get similar results, and I don't care who the coach is. All right, everybody. Appreciate you joining me. Thanks to Kevin Bohannon for hopping on, and appreciate all of you for your questions and your time and for joining in on the show. We certainly couldn't do what we do without you. With our free users who just watch the show and read our free content, we appreciate you. We really appreciate our loyal subscribers at HawgSports, those who have been supporting us for a number of years or have just recently jumped on. We appreciate all of you guys for supporting what we do and allowing us to do what we do. All right, everybody. This has been Trey Biddy with HawgSports.com. We'll catch you next time.